According to Mexica or Aztec mythology, Mictlan is the place of eternal rest for the souls of those who have passed away due to natural causes or common diseases. However, the dead didn't just up and die and get to chill in Mictlan. No. True to their warrior-like way of living, the Mexica believed that their souls had to overcome 9 difficult trials in order to finally get some well-earned eternal rest at the end of it all. The journey to Mictlan takes the dead about 4 years to complete and is filled with arduous tasks. But thankfully, the dead get some help from the Mexica psychopomp himself, łaːn, or the dog-headed god. So, if you're ready to learn about the 9 levels that the dead had to pass through in order to reach Mictlan, and to learn about what exactly awaits your probably very tired soul in Mictlan, let's start the journey with the first level. The first level, Nahuatl, the place of the dogs. The journey into the afterlife begins as the newly deceased finds themselves at the edge of a vast river. To cross the river, they need a special guide. In this case, only a reddish-brown łaːn, a hairless dog with a deep spiritual significance, can help. The łaːn, or łaːn, of course, isn't just any dog. He's the key to crossing the river. The łaːn has to be reddish-brown. You see, white łaːns would be all like, "I'm already clean, dead human." And black łaːns would be all like, "I like my color just as it is, my furless friend." So only the reddish-brown dog would carry the dead across the river, making the reddish-brown łaːn the goodest boy in the afterlife. And unfortunately, if you were not so great to dogs in life, they would refuse to help you in the afterlife. You see, the Mexica believed that how you treat dogs in life matters. So many indigenous people would care for and adopt dogs to ensure that when the time came, the dog would recognize them as a friend and help them cross the river. Second level, Mictlan, the place where the hills crash together. In the second level, the trial consisted of crossing 2 hills that crashed together. The dead had to wait for just the right moment to cross in between the 2 hills without being crushed to move on to the next level. Third level, ʻmikt, the place of the hills. To pass this level, the dead had to climb treacherous mountains filled with sharp rocks that would tear at the skin. Fourth level, ʻmikt, the place of obsidian wind. If the dead managed to pass through the third level, they would arrive at a desolate place full of ice and sharp stones. This level had a mountain range with even more jagged edges. The dead would encounter 8 low mountain peaks, and in between there would be a pass where snow never stopped falling and that they had to cross in order to get to the next level. Fifth level, ʻmikt, the place where people fly and wave like flags. After reaching the last hill of the previous level, the not so newly deceased arrived at the 5th level, where there was no gravity due to devastating winds that swept everything in their path. If the dead managed to free themselves from this place, they would pass on to the next level. 6th level, ڵaːn. This level was just a long path that the dead had to walk through. Just kidding. This long path was full of arrows that invisible hands would shoot at the dead, causing many ouchies, which is why this level is known as the place where people are shot with arrows. It is said that these arrows were the ones that had been lost in battles on Earth. They were the stray arrows from warriors in combat. 7th level, Tepeyolotl's level. Here, Tepeyolotl, the Lord of the Jaguars, would unleash his homey jaguars on the dead, and the big murdered mitten felines were on an explicit mission to rip open your chest and eat your heart out. But you didn't have to outsmart the muscular felines in order to move on to the next level. The trial here was to let your heart be eaten, as this was the price for descending to the 8th level. Some say that the Mexicas placed a stone in the mouth of the dead, which in turn became their heart. So, when they encountered the jaguars, the deceased had to give up the stone in order to continue their journey. 8th level, ʻmikt, the place where you leave your body. Here, a river of black waters flowed. The dead had to cross it without drowning. If successful, they would shed their body and their soul would be free to continue on to the next level. Ninth level, ๊miktlan, the Black Waters. The Black Waters of the previous level flowed into the 9 Black Waters of Chiconahuapan, where the 9th level began. Here the gods ๊miktlan and ๊miktecacíhuatl, who represent masculine and feminine death, would release the soul of the dead from the burdens and sufferings of the mortal body. According to Mexica mythology, ๊miktlan, or the Lord of the Land of the Dead, rules over Mictlan alongside his wife ๊miktecacíhuatl. ๊miktlan is closely associated with owls, spiders, and bats, while ๊miktecacíhuatl is said to have been the one to watch over the bones of the dead and preside over the ancient festivals of the dead. Ultimately, Mictlan is a place of purification where souls would find eternal rest after their strenuous journeys. According to the Florentine Codex, a book compiled by Fray Bernardino de Sahagún and written by Nahuatl scribes in the 16th century, the dead would be wrapped up with amulets and other possessions to help them on their journey to Mictlan. After the deceased passed the 9 trials, to reach Mictlan, they had to give ๊miktlan the tributes that were placed with their body during cremation, as they could not arrive empty-handed. It's important to note that the Mexica concept of death was very different from the Western worldview, and almost everything we know about this mythology comes from accounts documented by Spanish friars based on the stories of the indigenous people they evangelized, with Fray Bernardino de Sahagún being the primary source. In addition to Mictlan, there were other places where the dead could go, depending on the circumstances of their death. For example, warriors who died in battle and those who died in sacrifice went east and accompanied the sun during the morning, while women who died in childbirth were seen as the female equivalent to male warriors and went to the west and accompanied the sun when it set in the evening. And finally, people who died of drowning or from water-related causes went to a paradise called ๊laːn, where the god of rain, Tlaloc, reigned. So, are you ready for the journey through Mictlan when you die? Or are you just gonna chicken out and convert to Christianity? Let us know what you think in the comments. Until next time, be nice to dogs, and maybe, have an amulet ready, just in case. Later.